Hey everyone, today I will show you how you can easily draw animals like your own pet. We will go over which brushes I use and how you can use them. I will also talk about how you can draw fur, and I will reveal some industry secrets. This is my dog Jessie. She will be the model of this video today. So grab your pad and your pen and let's get started. I know I'm probably a bad YouTuber by starting off with the whole selling point of this video, but the secret that no one wants to tell you about drawing your pet is tracing. It's done by so many people, even people who sell it as a commission. There are many people who are honest about it. Like if you have spent some time on Instagram, for example, you will come across many artists who have the drawing of the pet and then the picture of the pet that the owner sent them next to it. It's frowned upon to trace by many people, but also it's done by many people. Tracing is a heavy topic that we could talk about for ages, but I'm gonna try and keep it brief. I personally think that tracing is a great tool to learn proportions as long as you're paying attention to what you're doing. When it comes to pet art in particular, I think tracing is totally fine because you want the pet to look as identical as possible. You could be like very good at drawing a cat, but that doesn't mean it'll look like that person's cat, like that specific cat. The person who's like commissioning you, they will notice when you draw a rounder head or something for the cat that their cat doesn't have. Like you want it to look as identical as possible. So it makes totally sense to trace. If you've ever worked an art job, time is money. Your boss probably wants you to trace. And he'll probably tell you, like, what's the point of drawing something in a specific pose that you found on the internet, but then trying to do it yourself? It'll just take a lot more time. You could just trace it. That's just how they do it in the industry. There are probably people out there who are extremely good and have practiced for a very long time. We're probably not there yet. I know I'm not fully there yet. Yeah, most people, just casual people with casual art jobs, they trace. It's just how it works. I hate to say it, but it's just what we all do. I figured if I'm going to tell you to trace, I should probably show you how to trace too. There is a wrong and a right way to trace, I guess. Like you could be tracing something and it would still look shit. So I think it's valuable to kind of show you how proper tracing is done, because no one shows you. No one wants to admit it, but still so many people do it. Even big YouTubers, they didn't say it, they never told anyone, but they have been caught. Like the reference picture has been found and no one wants to talk honestly about it. So I'm going to be that person. I'm going to show you how to properly trace. The thing is that you have to pay kind of attention to is the fact that if you trace something and you turn off the photo, sometimes it still looks kind of off. It just doesn't look right, and somehow it doesn't look like the photo. So usually when you're done with the sketch, you still have to go in and fix some stuff. I like doing it with the liquify tool. It's something I'm gonna be saying for forever, and I'm going to show you how to use it, unless it's not wonky, but we don't know yet. We haven't sketched it yet. Okay, so we have the picture right here. And we have some other reference photos next to it. The reason I chose this one is because I like that she's kind of tilted. Her face is not straight, it's kind of going like that. She is somewhat looking straight into the camera. So what I do is I get a red color and I turn the opacity a bit down of the photo, and I get my favorite brush out, which is usually this hard brown pressure opacity brush, which is a standard brush in Photoshop. Or I have this square brush that's somewhere in here. There it is. I'll link that one down below. It's a free brush. So I want to have like a headshot. So I'll do like kind of a shape like this, and I won't have the legs and stuff under it. You could do full body, but I want to do it this way. So what I also do while I'm drawing a pet is the markings I will take with me in the sketch. So I will draw those. I'm making sure that I won't forget, because otherwise I'll just forget. Besides that, I'll just do certain things like obviously the eyes and the ears and the nose and stuff. And I don't like very specifically do the hairs. I just do with my own knowledge of hairs. I just draw that. It's not like I'm literally tracing it unless I really like the shape of some of the hairs. Then I'll just copy it. But otherwise, it's just mostly to get the proportions right, to know that the nose is here, the eyes are here, and the mouth is here, you know? Perfect. With that being said, and with the secret out there, let's get into the actual drawing. I know tracing is a topic that can get heated very quickly. For me personally, I really benefited from it when I was younger and still learning to draw properly. I used to hate people who traced and always called them out, really petty. But eventually I gave it a try because I didn't make any progress, even though I tried so hard and shed many tears. Stuff that I had been practicing on for 5 years now, I was now able to understand and draw in a few weeks' time. Tracing made it click in my head. I really needed that hand-to-brain connection. Eventually, I also learned that in the professional world, tracing is very normal. Same with photo bashing. Time is money. So I have finished my sketch. It took me about like 5 minutes, maybe not even 5 minutes. So if I were to have drawn this completely from scratch by either like looking at pictures or even not looking at pictures at all, then it would have taken me ages. That's why everyone does it, no shame in it. But just because you traced it doesn't mean it'll look right. So what I noticed right now is that this eye looks a bit bigger and it's like drooping a bit more. There's different ways to fix it. You could erase it and fix it and draw it again without turning the background layer on. Because if I turn it on, it does look like it's bigger, but somehow it isn't that noticeable. But with my painting, it is noticeable. What I usually do is just draw a bit closer because she has like very dark eyes and eyelids and stuff. So it doesn't really matter that it's like looking like that right now. I probably have to add it here too anyway. And now it matches more. Another way is to use the liquify tool to get it a bit up. That's possible too. Just do it however you like. So with the fur, if you could notice in the time lapse, I at some points followed the way that her fur was going in the picture, and other times I just did what felt right to me. So with this, you do have to have a little bit of knowledge, because if you've never drawn a pet before or something with fur, then you don't know how to do it probably. That's why tracing would also be very helpful, because if you trace the way the fur goes, then you're already like making that connection with your hand and your brain. That's why tracing is just a good tool to learn too. No shame. We need to normalize this, okay? So my next step will be to turn the lines to a color from her fur. Usually I pick a bit darker color, and then later on when we have the rest in, I usually go over it again and make it matchant. So let's do that. You have this button here with the little squares. You press that, this like lock turns on. It's different from this lock because this one is like filled in and this isn't filled in. So you need the not filled in lock. It's kind of like a clipping mask, but without having a clipping mask. So it's easier to keep your file a bit more organized. Usually I get a hard round pressure brush, because if you get the other one that we were sketching with, then it won't go fully over the red colors. See, so now we're just drawing over the lines because we turned that thing on. So what I like doing then is get one of the colors. Gonna go with this one. I'm just gonna fill it in just one color, one layer. What I like to do is either get this brush that we were sketching with and draw it in like that. I go alongside the lines, and then later I fill it in with the bucket tool, and then I get the soft ground brush and I just go around the white line that's still left. Or I do it with the square brush, because with fur I just really like doing that. It just works. I just like it. So the reason that I'm using a dark color is so that I know I'm not missing a spot. She's mostly white-ish. If I had chosen a color from that area, then it would be very hard to see if I'm missing a spot. So that's why I'm choosing to go with a darker color. Okay, so we have fully painted down the base color. Now it's time to make a clipping mask. The clipping mask just keeps everything inside this area. And that was also why it was important that we could see that we're not missing anything, because otherwise that would would have stayed white too. So with coloring everything in, I think it's also wise to color pick from the pictures that you're given, because then you're sure that it looks like the pet too. If you want to add some fancy bounce slides and stuff like that, first of all, that's a bit more difficult, so I wouldn't start with that. But you could also still do that later on with a layer in purple or whatever you want the color to be, and then just put it on multiply or something that fits. So with laying down the first part of the colors from the fur, I have this brush that I'll also link down below. I think it's in the same pack as the square one. It's called the MB Texture. I think the person meant it to be like a cloud brush or something, but I think it's great for fur. As you can see, it kind of already blends, so it just makes blending everything together easier to me, and it just adds a little bit of texture, which I really like. You can also just go in with like a soft round brush, but then everything is too blended, and that's just something that I don't like. Because if you have the texture already down, then you're like able to draw less hairs, in my opinion, because you already have that texture. Besides that, you don't see every single hair on the dog on these pictures either. Just follow this advice, just try it out for once. I really like it. As soon as I started using this, because I had been trying for so damn long to be able to draw pets and fur and stuff, and I just couldn't get it to look right until I tried this. I don't even know why I tried this. I think I just randomly tried it at some point and it just worked. I'm thankful for that. Another thing that I do, besides color picking from the picture, I also color pick in my own drawing. This way you will be able to blend the colors a bit more. So as you could see, everything was a bit harsh there before I did it, and now it's a bit more smoothed out. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I also don't put too much pressure, because if you put too much pressure, then you'll still get these like very dark lines. But if you do it very softly, you're able to blend it very well. A very important tip I want to give you is to not zoom in too much. You don't want to work into details that you won't even see when you zoom out. This will save you time and pain in your hands, trust me. Another tip for when you are just starting out is to lower the opacity on your brush. This helped me too when I just started drawing like this. So we have put the base colors down now. Now it's time to start blending it a little bit more with a soft round brush. This one to be specific. And now we turn this little thing on, which means it's more sensitive. So we can even blend it so much better. And while we are also blending it out a little bit more, I will also start drawing in hairs already, because drawing the hairs will also blend the colors that we've just put down. I also want to mention you don't have to stick to your reference completely till in the details. I know at the beginning I said you want the pet to look as much as the picture as possible, but sometimes stuff, certain details or lack of details or shading, etc. looks really good in the picture while it doesn't look as good in your drawing. Sometimes I even use the liquify tool and completely eyeball it and move stuff around. Somehow it sometimes looks more like the picture after all that than it did before, when it was neatly traced. I'm not sure how or why this happens, but it's just a little tip to look out for. my drawing is finished. I like how it turned out. I hope you guys learned something from it. I hope you guys are not afraid to trace sometimes, to learn. You don't have to trace. I mean, I'm not preaching that you have to trace, but sometimes if you have no progress in your drawing, maybe it is an idea to start tracing, and maybe that will help you, because it really helped me when I was stuck a few years ago. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please go take a look at my other social media. I have Instagram for the art, and I have DeviantArt, and you know, all that stuff. I have a Discord server. You can post your drawing there, and maybe someone can give feedback. Maybe I can give some feedback if you want that. I also stream twice a week, and I would love it if you came by and said hi. My dog will be there too. Yeah, so I hope you guys stopped by. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys learned something. And I'll see you next time.